now listening to the Zay Moore Podcast.
I want to know what Zay thinks
There's a
about
few
that.
things that we got to address.
Black people got the swag. Black people set the trends. We are the culture. We got a reality star for our president. It's insane. Even if they try to erase black history out of schools, it's not going to erase black history. Because we've been here. Kendrick Lamar definitely beat Drake in that battle. Hands down. At the end of the day, I'm going to keep it real with my people. Because if we don't keep it real with each other, who will?
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, the one and only Zay Moore. And I want to welcome you back to a brand new episode of the Zay Moore Podcast. Yeah. Today is July 29th, and we definitely have some things to talk about today. A lot has gone on over the course of 24 hours, and we're going to unpack it. We're going to start with covering the Trump and Epstein files updates, get that out of the way. We're then going to move on to an unfortunate story. There was a shooting on Parker Avenue, Midtown in New York City yesterday. Some people lost their lives. Very unfortunate. Just want to send thoughts and prayers to all of the victims and their families. We are going to be talking about the T app and the data breach. T is a app that was created for women to upload pictures of dudes they dating and get the T on the guys. And there was a data breach, so that's kind of scary. A lot of information out there, personal information. So we're going to cover the latest on that. Last but not least, towards the end of the show, we're going to get a little messy. And we're going to talk about sexuality, the history of sexuality, the nuances, the double standards when it comes to men and women, society's views on sexuality. Definitely going to be a fun conversation to have. So I hope y'all are ready. Y'all ready? Of course you're ready. You're here with me. You are here at the Zay Moore Podcast. So let's start the show, y'all. Trump and Epstein file updates. In May 2025, Attorney General Pam Bondi, along with Deputy AG Todd Blanche, allegedly informed President Trump that his name appears multiple times in Department of Justice investigative records tied to Jeffrey Epstein. These reportedly included unverified hearsay documents. The Wall Street Journal was first to report on the briefing, prompting denials labeling it fake news. During a July 28th meeting with UK Prime Minister Starmer in Scotland, Trump said he never visited Epstein's Little St. James Island, claiming he declined an invitation. He reiterated that their friendship ended years before Epstein's legal troubles and that Epstein had allegedly stolen Trump's employees, which led to their split. Trump also stated that he has been approached about pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, who was the accomplice in all of this, right, to Jeffrey Epstein, and insisted any claims suggesting otherwise are false. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's convicted associate, as I just mentioned, met with DOJ Deputy AG Todd Blanche, and reportedly they were set in that meeting to discuss names. It was about 100 names, they said, that was linked to this Epstein network. This may be part of an ongoing allegation over her appeal or sentence reduction. Meanwhile, the House Oversight Committee has subpoenaed her testimony. So to kind of pause right there, basically what we're getting is, I feel like, Trump is saying, hey, I'm not even friends with this guy, or I wasn't, rather, because he is dead. I wasn't friends with him after this whole situation happened where he stole my employees, right? Now, although that may be true, two things can be true at once, right? There is no, although you're saying that, right? He did say he declined the invitation to the island. He never had the privilege, quote unquote. And that word privilege, you gotta look at that with a side eye. Like, he never had the privilege to visit the island. And we know what was going on at the island. Trafficking young girls, two elites. What a privilege, right? But, I think at this point, what Trump is trying to set this narrative that, me and this guy weren't cool, but you were cool, right? And that is what we kind of have to start with when we're looking at the whole situation. Although you guys fell out, there's clear pictures of you guys online together, many pictures of you guys. So there was at one point a situation where you were around. So again, right, is it the fact that you are really just either A, trying to cover up the fact that you knew about what was going on and your name is on those lists of elites, right? That was associated with this Epstein network? Or is it that you're really just like, hey, I'm not associated with this guy. What he was doing was wrong. And as the president, I just want to clear my name. Now, which one do y'all think it is? Exactly. Right. I love that doom, 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 because it really makes you think, right? Like, come on. Again, stop playing in our faces. And the shifting narratives isn't helping at all, right? It's a lot of shifting narratives going on, and the story keeps changing. It just keeps changing. And I knew he was going to sooner or later have to respond to the claims, because for a while he didn't say anything, right? He let his team handle it. They said they was going to investigate. So, to hear from him on the 28th saying, hey, I never visited the island. I never had the privilege, But again, Ghislaine Maxwell, the associate, she discussed in her meeting over 100 names. And again, this was a elite sex ring. It was elite. Like he was allegedly, they're saying, handing out girls to people like Prince Andrew and singers and actors. And, it was just elite. Elite. It was elite. That word is funny. Elite. But so I don't know. I think that Trump is doing a disservice to the idea that he wasn't associated. If anything, I don't think I would have said anything yesterday, because a lot of the public does not believe him. I believe there was a poll done, and 64% of the public just believes that this is bullshit. And that's a big majority of people, right? 64% of people. So, hey, we'll keep following it. We'll see what's going on. That list is very interesting, because I feel like there's probably a lot of people tied to it, a lot of people who don't want that list to be released. So again, with all that we do know about the president's former relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, you cannot help but wonder, or you cannot fault the public for speculating. You really can, especially when the narrative keeps changing. But we'll be following that, and we will see what's going on with this list, y'all. We'll see. All right, so moving on. I hate to have to cover another story like this, especially after yesterday's story that we covered in Michigan that happened in Walmart, but that's what I'm here to do. So we're going to talk about the shooting that occurred on Park Avenue in Midtown, New York City. On July 28th, 2025, around 6:30 p.m., 27-year-old Shane Tamura from Las Vegas entered the lobby of the high-rise at 345 Park Avenue, carrying an M4-style rifle and wearing a bullet-resistant vest. Surveillance shows him firing into the lobby shortly after arriving in a black BMW. He killed 4 people and injured a 5th. Tamura then took an elevator to the 33rd floor, fired again, killed another victim, and fatally shot himself. Very, very unfortunate. I quickly want to go to CNN so we can get, of course, the gist of the story and some updates, and then we will come back and discuss, guys.
The gunman was caught on surveillance images walking into an office tower, carrying, as you can see in that video, an M4 assault-style rifle. Police say he immediately opened fire inside the lobby and then moved to the elevator bank, went up to the 33rd floor, where he continued firing before ultimately taking his own life. This is the deadliest mass shooting in New York City in 25 years. Investigators have identified the gunman as 27-year-old Shane Tamura of Las Vegas. They've tracked his movements over the last few days as he drove from Nevada to Manhattan, parking just outside, double parking really just outside that building. Inside the building, the NFL's corporate offices, along with a number of other businesses. And a source does tell CNN the gunman had a suicide note in his pocket, which expressed some grievances with the NFL, also claiming to suffer from CTE and asking for his brain to be studied. Police, however, has stressed that at this point, any motive is still under investigation.
And that clip again, guys, was from CNN. I do just want to, out of respect, let you guys know what we know so far on the victims. there was an NYPD officer who lost his life in this situation. His name was Darul Islam, I believe. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. He was a 36-year-old Bangladeshi immigrant and a father of two with a third child on the way, you guys. Wow. He served with the NYPD for 3.5 years and was working as a paid security detail for a management company at the time of the attack. He's described by officials as a hero who protected others during the shooting. We also have Wesley Lepatner. He was a Blackstone executive, global head of Core Plus Real Estate, and CEO of Blackstone Real Estate Income Trust. He was married. He was a father, and described by colleagues as a brilliant, warm, respected, and cherished within the firm. Other victims do include a female civilian in the lobby and a security guard behind the front desk, who were both shot and killed during the initial attack. A male officer worker on the 33rd floor was also killed. Those names have not been released yet. They are still pending family notification. Wow. There also was an injured survivor. So we're glad to hear somebody did at least survive. A male NFL employee was critically injured, but is now reported to be in stable condition at New York Presbyterian Hospital. It's a great hospital. That's where I was born. So I know they will keep him. He'll be in good hands there. Very, very good hospital. Wow. So that is the story, guys. And it's really, really unfortunate. I think that, after the recent political season, the world just went into a really dark place. You feel me? Everybody just started losing their minds, Now, when it comes to gun control and purchasing guns, that's always been an issue. But I feel like it's been magnified. We have a, president who is very vocal on celebrating, weapons and that translate to Americans as, hey, like weapons are great, as an American, I have a right to do things like this. Now, in this situation, I do want to stress that this was, according to what reports are saying, linked to a mental illness, right? He was suffering from chronic traumatic, we are going to get this word, guys, because I promise I practiced this for y'all before I got to the mic. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. I think that's how you say it. But that CTE, basically for short, was a part of the alleged motive. That 3-page suicide note alleges that he had CTE, and he was accusing the NFL of not doing enough and of suppressing the dangers of the disease. So although no clear motive has been reported yet, the suicide note is pointing to the fact that he had some sort of vengeance against the NFL and their lack of, I guess, concern when it comes to CTE. And he wanted his brain to be studied. That's what he said in the note. Man, though, just to imagine, and again, I'm a New Yorker, so the city was my stomping ground. I used to work in the city. So just imagine just walking out of your building or being in your building, right? Or just during rush hour and something like that happens. New York is a very, very, especially Midtown, it's a very busy area. So I could just imagine the chaos and the fear that had set in when, this was going down. I saw the videos. I saw the picture. The picture of him just walking with the rifle is crazy. It literally looks like a still out of GTA. It was traumatic. I was like, wow, and man, I just really don't know what to say. It's, again, right, I reported on the Michigan stabbing, and then now we have this. It's a lot. Mentally it becomes a lot. Reporting on it becomes a lot, because if you have any sort of emotional intelligence or competence, you definitely got to feel for these people and their families. Man. But again, prayers and thoughts to all of the victims and their families during this time. Okay, so I'm hoping our next 2 stories will kind of uplift the show, y'all. We're going to talk about this T app. Have you ever heard of T? The woman-only app T, known for its red flag reviews of men on dating apps, has suffered a major data breach. An estimated 72,000 images were exposed, including approximately 13,000 selfies and driver's license photos used for identity verification. This breach primarily affected users who signed up before February 2024, per the company's statement. Business Insider reveals the incident was far worse than initially reported, which was just direct messaging, spanning personal and sensitive topics such as abortion, cheating, and even accounts involving grape were also assessed. A security researcher, Karsra Raja, I don't know how to say his name, I'm going to skip that, reported accessing more than 1.1 million private chats, including some users' phone numbers and meeting locations. The messages dated from February 2023 through July 2025. The breach originated from a misconfigured Firebase storage bucket and not T's proprietary API. Though the company reportedly had strong security for its own code, the Firebase backend lacked basic protections, allowing unauthorized access. So this is crazy, right? A lot of people's personal information was leaked. Key facts here is that the number of images exposed, again, 72,000 total, including 13,000 selfies and ID pictures. The direct messages were leaked, right? That was what was originally reported. Over 1.1 million messages between February 2023 and July 2025. Wow. Well, y'all business just out there, just swimming like the fish. That's scary, right? The more technology advances, I feel like the less technical security advances. It's crazy. It's like you can't trust these companies to do anything. And was it really breached or was it sold, right? You got to start asking questions like this because companies are into selling data. They do sell information. Y'all do know that, right? Y'all are the product. So, inquiring minds would want to know. But dang, that's crazy. So you upload information trying to get the T, but now your T is out there. And it's being clocked because everybody, it's just out there swimming around. Man, like, I think, they definitely need to, before they launch stuff like this, you want to run tests on the security measures, make sure everything is properly in place. Because where is the information too? That is my question. Okay, so it was leaked where? Where's that? Is it is it just waiting to be picked up? Like, where is it? That's what I want to know, because they say it's leaked. Okay, leaked where? If I was one of these women and I was reading this, I would be like, well, where the hell is my information? Who's seeing my messages, my photos? I'd have a lot of questions, for real. I know T-Mobile, I believe about a year or two ago, they had a breach as well, and they had to end up sending out settlements because it was that much information that had went out. So I hope that T can get this together. And I think this is also going to put fear in, for future users, right? If I was, planning to sign up for T, I would second guess it, right? So y'all got to do what y'all got to do to make sure that your next batch of users who are interested in signing up feel comfortable in the security of the app, because you can't just be leaking people's information like a faucet. Like, you got to make sure things are intact. Yeah, man. Get it together, T. Get it together. Before we move on, guys, I do want to correct myself. So when we were discussing the shooting that happened on Park Avenue in Midtown, I did mistakenly misgender one of the victims. And I definitely, due to the sensitivity of the situation, want to correct myself. Wesley LePatner is a female. She was a star at Blackstone and a mother of two. So I definitely want to show respects properly and apologize for misgendering her. I was just reading over my notes and I don't know how I skipped that. So I definitely want to take accountability and apologize for that. And again, wish Wesley's family, just send love to Wesley's loved ones and, her friends and everyone who knew her during this time. So back to the show. We are about to have our first deep dive today, y'all. We're going to talk. We're going to get into some things about sexuality, the history of sexuality. Y'all ready? I know you ready because y'all freaky freaks. Let's do this though. So, the history of sexuality between men and women and the double standards placed on it reveals a long-standing imbalance shaped by power, patriarchy, religion, and evolving cultural norms. So we're gonna do a breakdown of how this history has unfolded and how double standards were enforced and perpetuated. So we got to start with the ancient civilizations, right? That's Egypt, Greece, Rome. We're gonna start at the base. Sex was openly discussed and often ritualized. Male sexuality was celebrated. Women were often viewed as property or vessels for childbearing. In Greece and Rome, male promiscuity, even with other men, was acceptable, while women were expected to be loyal and poised. And then we have the religion control that came in the Middle Ages time, Christianity, Islam, Judaism. They helped create a lot of sexual norms. Premarital and extramarital sex were considered sinful, especially for women, Virginity became central to a woman's value. Men's transgressions were more easily forgiven or they were ignored. So you see where this started, right? This is nothing new. Women were blamed for men's temptations. Ain't that crazy? That's crazy. I feel bad for y'all. Renaissance to Enlightenment. Next phase of the evolution of sexuality. Men continued, even in the Enlightenment stage, to enjoy more sexual freedom. Prostitution during this time was widespread and often legally tolerated for men's pleasure, yet women involved were stigmatized. Double standards were formalized in marriage laws, and male infidelity often tolerated while female infidelity was criminalized. The Victorian era, y'all, the 1800s. Sexual repossession intensified, especially for middle and upper class women. The ideal woman was pure, submissive, and modest, while men were seen as naturally sexual. So y'all are men, we men, this is what we supposed to do. Basically, that's what they were saying in the 1800s. We supposed to just be fucking like rabbits. It was accepted that men might visit workers, women who were seen as fallen or irredeemable, right? So these were just basically like blow up dolls, right? They would have sex and just toss them. It's sad. We got to move on now to the early 20th century, to the sexual revolution. Flappers and early feminists began to challenge norms. The 1960s, 70s sexual revolution came in. Birth control, feminism opened the door for women to reclaim sexual agency. Still, women who embraced sexual freedom were often called sluts, while men who did it right, we was players. That's play on. That's what they were saying. So many double standards from all of this. Casual sex within men is praised, as I did say. Women, they get the hoe, the slut. Sexual experience is a sign of maturity or masculinity when it comes to men. So if you having sex at 12 or 13, I've seen the toxic mentality of, yeah, you did that, little bro. But when women do it, it is often viewed as promiscuity or lack of self-respect. It's crazy. Body count. Y'all already know about this one. Men socially rewarded. Women get socially punished. I want to switch gears, and now we're gonna go to, because this definitely leads into DL culture. Some of y'all are scared, right? I said that word you don't want to hear. DL culture. The question of why so many men live on the down low goes back to a lot of what I was just explaining. And this, of course, the meaning of DL, before, I go any further, because I got to educate people who don't know. This means that, men who are DL engage in same-sex activity while presenting as heterosexual. It's complex, layered, rooted in cultural identity, shame, fear, and societal pressure. While not exclusive to one group, the term is especially associated with Black and Latino men in the U.S., where cultural, religious, and social dynamic often intersect in unique ways. Little breakdown. Many societies define manhood in rigid ways, right? Men who show any sign of femininity, behavior, or same-sex attraction are often labeled as weak, less than, or unacceptable. So, of course, put yourself in the shoes of a normal man who might be having these feelings towards other men. And the societal pressures of not being able to express yourself because you don't want to be deemed less than within your family, within your peers. It's crazy. Homophobia and fear of rejection is birthed out of all of that, right? Religious beliefs, family values, and cultural expectations often create intense pressure to conform. Many DL men fear being disowned by their family. I just mentioned that. Being judged, bullied, or attacked. Just unfortunate stuff like that. So instead of coming out, what do? They internalize everything, right? They just kind of put their lives in these different compartments, living a straight identity in public while pursuing same-sex intimacy privately. I'll be the first to let y'all know it ain't worth it, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I'll say that. And a lot of these guys, they want families, right? So, people take a look at gay men or homosexuality and just think that family is just out of the door. And that's not the case. A lot of these guys do want families. They genuinely want marriage. They genuinely want children and societal approval, hence why they're hiding it. And they may love their wives, right? They may love their girlfriends, but emotionally, you're going to feel unfulfilled or curious sexually. And that's just what it's going to boil down to. If you have those feelings, you're going to feel unfulfilled. You can love your wife all you want. You can love your girl all you want, but you can't really just hide who you are. It doesn't work that way. Well, you can, right? Because people do it. They take secrets like this to the grave with them. But imagine that, right? Just living just like your whole life in fear of being ridiculed. That's not living. That's just crazy, man. So I want to give y'all a personal testimony, right? Because I myself, I am a gay black man, and I did not come out until I was in my, I'd say, 20s. And I grew up Seventh-day Adventist, right? So I was deep into the church. I was, gospel singer. I was traveling all throughout the 5 boroughs, singing at different churches. I was in various choirs. I, did the gospel fest. I acted in a lot of church plays, Sunday school. I was that dude. It took me, as I got older and I started to read and understand religion, understand where it came from, the history. I just learned that there was also a lot of politics and there's a lot of secrecy in religion, and a lot of double standards. I feel like people use the word of God, quote unquote, and they apply it to how they feel, what they think is wrong, right? But there's a lot of, if we're talking about sins in the Bible, because I read it twice back to back in school. I also went to a Seventh-day Adventist school, so y'all see how deep I was in the shit. But it was a requirement that you had to know the Bible back to front. So I read it in the 5th grade back to front twice and was tested on it and had to pass, or else I couldn't, go to the next grade. That was embedded in the curriculum of the school that I went to. But getting back on the topic, so I too was very, very scared of coming out. First of all, like my mom's, and we will go into discussions of, being accepted by parents and all of that when we have a deep dive into family trauma. But my mother wasn't having it, right? I just grew up, everything I heard was faggot this, faggot that, faggot. So look at that, faggot, right? So just imagine hearing all of that growing up, and you're dealing with these feelings, or, you're coming into who you are. You can't speak to your moms about that. You feel me? You can't go to nobody at church about that. So I just covered it up for years. You feel me? I was dating girls. And again, right, just like I said, I liked all of my girlfriends. I loved all of my girlfriends. Like, I was a player in high school. You feel me? But I began to feel that feeling I felt like I wasn't being myself. I felt like I was unfulfilled. And I've always been a researcher. I've always been a person who likes to read and explore. So the more I dived into religion, the more I started to examine the actions of the people who were going to my church. You feel me? Because again, I saw like you can't pick and choose what you want to follow in the Bible, right? And people would get on the pulpit and ridicule actions, but I would see a lot of bullshit within the church that I would just like go home, and even as a kid, I'd be like, okay, well, if this is a sin, then why is this not a sin? Like, you know, you had people sleeping around with people who were married. You had people having babies out of wedlock. You had, it was just a lot going on. You feel me? A lot going on. And not just in my church, but a lot of churches in my conference, because the church that I went to was a part of a bigger SDA conference. So there's a lot of schools and churches that are linked to this conference. And yeah, you know, I've been in the religious world. I was in it for a while to see that it definitely doesn't help. You know, God is love. That is what they teach. But to, you know, get in front of people and then condemn them and tell them that they're going to burn in hell for all eternity, that's not love to me. And it's like, well, shit, if I'm a burn for all eternity, then what are you going to be doing out here having sex with all these young girls and you married, you know? It's stuff like that. And a lot of pastors, a lot of people who are in church use church as a mask, right? It's like, I'm not really happy with what I'm doing. I don't want to be judged. This gives me peace of mind. And that's really what religion is. It's like a peace of mind, hope, you know, going back all the way to the religious times, you know, I mean, to the slavery days, religion was used to keep black people in place, right? It was used to keep them even through the midst of slavery and being beat and being raped and all of this stuff. It was used to keep them level-headed and in a hopeful mind state. So that can easily be, you know, twisted into sort of like just a mask, right? It's like, okay, well, I'm comfortable here, so I'll just stay here for now, and I'll do what I do in the background. And y'all know the popular saying, whatever's done in the dark comes to the light. And reeling it back to my personal testimony, that's the space that I got into. Once I got into my 20s, and, you know, I started earning my own income, started working, started moving, doing things. I just didn't give a fuck anymore. That's really what it was. I had seen enough, read enough, heard enough to know that, one, right, when it comes to religion, if you do believe in God, you can have a relationship with God outside of the politics of the church. And two, again, I just didn't give a fuck. like you feel me? Like I had spent my life as a child just so confined to what the church wanted me to do, what my mother wanted me to do, what my school wanted me to do. And I had enough, right? Even with my music, you know, I wanted to go in a secular route. And I had a lot of connections. You know, I still have a lot of connections because I'm that nigga. But my mom just was not having it. She was not in. Again, I'll go more into that when we have our family trauma deep dive. But, you know, she just didn't want me in the secular world. Ironically enough, she wanted to be in the secular world. She went and got headshots. She was an extra in movies, but I couldn't do it. I had to use my voice only for God. You feel me? So I just got sick of it. And I lost some friends, I say, you feel me? I feel like some of my male straight friends that I went to high school with, you know, they stopped fucking with me for fear of, I guess, you know, people may be thinking that they was gay because they hung out with me. But I don't really give a fuck, you feel me? Like I've always been me. Yeah, you know, so once I got into my mid-20s, it was just it for me. And I got more into like my research bag, and I just really started doing a lot of deep dives into religion and sexuality, and you know, started studying people that I'd meet, you know, because again, people look at me surface value, right? And they don't see quote unquote gay. And that too made me study like, well, what is gay? What does gay look like to people? And what are the standards when it comes to what a man is, or what he should look like, or what he should act like. Like, I started reading so many books and just really examining it, because it is really interesting when we go all the way back, to the Middle Ages and the 1800s, all of that stuff. We see how sexuality evolved. And then we see where religion came into place, and we see where we are now. And through media, through music, through movies, it is still being, the idea of what a man is still being warped. I will say women have had a great blossom when it comes to woman empowerment, right? Women now, thanks to the media and other movements, it's just fluidity is just so accepted. And men, we are still kind of stuck in that historical one-dimensional definition of what a man is. And again, for me, it was relieving, because I did live my life in fear. You feel me? Like anything, I didn't want to do anything gay outside. I didn't even want to look a dude's way, because I felt like somebody else was going to see me, and then boom, I was just going to go to hell immediately. I was just going to drop down and burn. That's how I felt. And then I had to really step back and be like, yo, wait a minute. It's a lot of mind control. It's a lot of bullshit going on here. You feel me? I'm living my life in fear, while the same people who are telling me that what I'm doing is wrong is doing the hell what they want to do behind closed doors. That's really what religion started to look like to me. Once I hit 17, it was just like a bunch of hypocrisy and bullshit. And think about people who don't step outside of the social norm, right? Those that don't leave the church, those that are not, exploring their full potential, because they are so linked to religious beliefs, political beliefs, societal beliefs. All that shit is just a facade. Don't even get me started on politics. Politics and religion, to me, go hand in hand. They really go hand in hand, because there's just a lot of power dynamic, and I think that it's whack. I really do. I feel like there's good in both, right? But I really feel like you have to tread lightly, and no one should feel like they have to please anybody but themselves, really. When you look in the mirror, you should feel like, yo, I'm that nigga, I'm that bitch. Not when you around your family and your friends and you're getting that acceptance from other people, that is temporary. Because people fade away. People do their own thing. People move. People die. So what are you going to do when you don't have, those safe havens around you to make you feel normal or make you feel like you're worth something? No, you have to know what you're worth from the inside. And then that exudes from the outside. And I don't want y'all to think that this confidence you had came overnight. You feel me? I definitely had to work on myself and remove myself at times from just everyone, because it started with me, and I wanted to know how I felt. I wanted to know what I wanted to do without the societal pressures, without the parental pressures, without the religious pressures. I just needed to know who I was as a person. And that's really what it is, y'all. You got to figure out who you are as a person. And this is just not on sexuality, but every area of your life. You feel me? Our lives are so structured due to the social norms of society that you kind of fall in place, right? You just fall in place. You're born, you grow up, boom, you just fall in place, right? But you have to take time to find yourself, because if you don't, you'll just be living this life that, and then, as you get older, you kind of look back and be like, damn, like, who is that person? You definitely don't want that. You definitely don't want that for yourself. So I said all that to say, I say all this to say, anyone out there who needs courage or inspiration to be themselves, do what they want without fear of rejection and ridicule, I'm here to help you get there. I'm here to tell you today that it don't matter what nobody else think about you, because at the end of the day, you got to live your life for you, because they're going to live their life for them. Live your life. If you want to kiss a man and you a man, kiss him. If you a girl and you want to kiss a girl, kiss her. But be open about it, right? Be real about it. And I'm not telling anyone to, I'm not forcing anybody to come out, because coming out, that's a personal thing again. And you don't really get to that point until you're able to remove yourself from what is holding you back and find the courage to be like, yo, this is who I am. Fuck you. That's not going to come until you take that first step into really confronting your feelings, confronting your emotions, confronting your desires, and taking baby steps toward them. So that is my inspiration. That is my advice to y'all today. Anybody that is listening, just sit down, take a look at yourself in the mirror, and just ask yourself, who am I? What do I want? Society aside, religion aside, politics aside, family aside, what do I want? Kids aside even sometimes, right? What do I want as a person? I got a few homegirls that'll be like, yo, Zay, do you think he gay? Yo, Zay, you know if he gay? I'll be like, fuck I look like? Inspector Gadget? Like, I don't know if the is gay. Ask him. For real, it's crazy. But if y'all know what that sound means, that means we have made it to the end of the episode. I want to thank y'all so much for joining me on today's episode. It was a very good episode. I feel like we had a deep dive. We talked about some things. Again, throw some prayers to everyone that was involved in that situation yesterday. But I want to thank everyone for joining me today here on the Zay Moore Podcast. I hope something that you heard today changes the way you think, changes the way you're going to move. I want y'all to stay tuned, because I got a lot of stuff coming up. I'm getting back in the studio. I'll be working on my new EP, and I'm really about to get out there on the road. The Zay Moore Podcast is coming with me. The music is coming with me, and I want y'all to come with me. All right, so y'all got to make sure you stay subscribed. Make sure you got those notifications on. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at the Zay Files _ at the Zay Moore Podcast. Again, this has been Zay Moore for the Zay Moore Podcast. And until next time, peace.